Well, folks, hello and welcome to Kipper Tales. Well, we've got some news to share about the ongoing air and the fuel issue. And in the first of this two-parter series, what we're going to do is look back at where this all began and what we've done to try and solve it. So, this all began 2019, when originally we were going to be moving Kipper to Milford Haven, but she decided she didn't want to go, and this is what was happening. She would run happily, as you see, but as soon as you engage the gear, she'd stop. Having eliminated the obvious, like a foul prop, the only thing we could do then was to check the system. As you can see, it's full of air. But where's it coming from? Okay folks, well, here we are back on dry land, if you want to call it that. Profusely raining, of course. But the plan at the moment is to see if I can sort out the issue with the fuel. At the moment, unfortunately, it's a case of digging into things and seeing what's going on, really. But one thing I did notice yesterday was that some of the seals, the O-rings, weren't looking too clever on the primer pump. So I'm going to sort of start my sort of line of investigation there and see what happens. Okay, so here's the root of the problem. This is the primer pump here. One thing that's puzzled me about this particular water trap is that most of these that I've come across in the past have got a filter inside, but this one doesn't seem to have one. So in fact, on the engine there's actually only one filter, which sort of troubles me slightly. Well, in fact, it troubled me enough to change my plan completely. Okay, so Santa's just been. I've unpacked the new filter. So let's have a look. So here, with the primer set up, same as the old one really, only the difference is of course that we've got a filter mid-range on this one now. Usual drain off. I did think about getting the one with the plastic or clear base, so you could see what crud is assembling in there, but or rather accumulating in there. But unfortunately, its position is such that you wouldn't really see it anyway. So I didn't see there was much point. Pretty much it's put together now. So the idea is really tomorrow to go down, put it in situ, and see if that's going to work. Well, good morning. Get the priorities right. We're here back at Kipper to fit the new filter and primer. You saw the fun that we had before, as far as breaking down goes. All we can do now really is try the new filter and see whether that eliminates the air in the system, and there's quite definitely air in there. So here's hoping really. We can but try. Okay, so here goes nothing. Okay, so this is where we are so far. We've got the pump secured in there, and there's the main source feed from the tank coming here, and then this one is going to go to the fuel pump, which is down here. Well, as I made for the anchorage, my worst fears were realised really. I started to notice a power fall off. Now at first I thought, is it the tide? But then I realised that the engine was pretty much flat out and we weren't actually making a great deal of way at all. So there was obviously still an engine problem. Well, following lockdown, I changed all the pipe work from the tank all the way back to the stop valve, even changing the stop valve as well. Unfortunately, despite that, it still wouldn't run for more than a half an hour, 45 minutes. So my last attempt really is to change the O-ring underneath the bleed screw. That's it. I can't do any more. But it still didn't work. So that's exactly what I did do. Now, they suggested that it might be the pickup pipe in the tank and that the tank should be removed to get access. Luckily, we managed to find a shortcut. This is how it normally sits in the tank, sucking up the fuel. But then when it's pressurized, you can see that there was actually bubbles forming around the top. So this is where they think the air was getting into the system. So it was never going to be a straightforward job, and unfortunately a little bit of modification was required, especially here where the fuel filler goes. With the new pickup pipe fitted, looking great, it no longer fits the gap. So a modification was required for the base where the tank sits. So the holes here where the drains go had to be moved. But eventually the tank was fitted and it looks great. The modified fuel filler was back in situ and all the pipework restored. So we're looking good. Ouch, let go my arm. But as we know, when you add the word marine, you add zeros. But the only way forward now is to actually get out and try this thing properly. So join us in part 2, where we're going to go upstream once again and give this repair a proper try. Be back out, really is, folks. Can't tell you.